Cherry Africa, it is lovely to see you here this morning. Well, I'm sure it's this afternoon, because you're joining us from the Philippines, I believe.
Yes, same here. Thank you so much for having me here and for inviting me to actually speak in the conference.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, your presentation at the conference is called "The Fired Up Leader: Dancing with Grace Through Fire." That's a beautifully intriguing title. So, do tell me a bit more about yourself and your presentation.
Yes, thank you, Karen. My name is Cherry Africa, and here I'm called the Chief Awakener of People, of Awesome People. So my job here is basically to help awaken, and summon whatever best version you have. If you have not released it, it's time for you to actually show up to the world in your best version. So we do a lot of peak performance training, seminars, and mostly business to business. So we have applied NLP in businesses. It's fun to do that, Karen. So we talk to a lot of leaders, CEOs in the C-suite, middle managers, and even staff positions. And we've also utilized some of the tools of NLP, to help ignite better communications, raise the level of consciousness of people in their relationships with each other, increase culture, interactions, manage conflicts, all this entire thing. So we're enjoying ourselves here, and we have trained a total of 500,000 people and teams in the Philippines and in Asia.
Yes. That's fantastic. Very, very impressive. So tell us a bit more about your presentation, The Fired Up Leader. I mean, it sounds like you've got definitely a huge amount of experience to be presenting on this particular topic.
Yes, Fired Up is a language that we use, in order to actually encourage and inspire leaders and people to actually summon that inner fire, so that they bring their soul to work. Yes. So that they don't just bring their physical bodies to work, they bring their souls to work. And when people work with spirit and with soul, the results are faster. They get breakthrough experiences. They develop their own personal leadership, personalities and identities, and everybody just, feel better. In short, everybody's performing at peak. They are being their best. They are performing their best. They are feeling their best. So this is basically our mission, to make every part of the world that we can reach within our influence awesome. We call it awesome, to put people in awe. While on top of being an NLP trainer, Karen, I'm also a firewalk teacher, instructor. So what I've done is to blend fire with NLP to actually provide that dramatic, kinesthetic, somatic experience for leaders. Because we all know leadership is not something that you could just read from the book and then become a great leader at once. Now, you need to have wisdom, you need to have practice. And this is the age of intuition and wisdom for leaders. No longer the age of, it's a different age right now. And where we are right now, with the future so uncertain, with the whole pandemic just happening before our eyes, leaders are also lost. And the people that they are leading, they are all just have broken spirits, tired, exhausted, depressed even spirits that are actually raising their hands and saying, no more, no more. Right. And during this, during this moment, this extraordinary time, we felt that we could actually provide service to leaders and to companies to actually fire up their people, their culture, to fire up their communication, to fire up their relationship, to mix soul with ego and let it go in a dance of flow and grace, so that companies and leaders are meeting their ambitions and also their visions. Yes. It's a difficult balance, Karen, right? But
yes.
and thank you for NLP. Thank the community for NLP. I have done a lot of NLP. We've given companies and people many NLP so that they could actually hang on to something, to provide them with hope, with inspiration, and with tools so that they could get to the next better state.
Yes. And it sounds so beautiful, the way that you're blending the firewalking experience, which obviously has certainly since the pandemic has been more challenging for people to be able to actually experience. So blending those two things, NLP and the fire walking experience, is lovely. So, I mean, obviously during your session, there will be no fire walking.
No.
So
Right.
what will delegates take away from your session?
Number one is, I guess, we want to awaken the inner fire of leaders, of delegates. No, I mean, when I speak about leadership, it doesn't mean just leadership in companies or businesses or enterprises, also leadership as parents,
Yes.
leadership as teachers. No, we are all, and we believe in NLP, everyone is a leader.
Exactly.
And so we wanted to actually help people find their vision as they actually pursue their hero's journey in this most difficult and impossible time. How can we actually win? How can the spirit and the soul win with the body, so that we're able to overcome and emerge better people? I mean, when we talk about fire, for example, going literally on fire, Karen, 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit of fire, there's a lot of fear there, but at the very end, it's an exercise, it's a metaphor, it's a symbol.
Yes.
This is the real fire. What happened to us for 2 years as a humanity is the real fire. And it's hot, it's burning, it can burn us up, burn us out. No, a lot of people can say no more, you know, I have a different path, I'm giving up. But when we actually cross the fire and forge forward towards the fire, at the end of that journey, we will be changed permanently.
Yes.
But it's difficult because we're fighting against, you know, fear. We're fighting against, you know, the threat of change, comfort zone. You know, we're fighting against our old identities. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult. But we have been doing so far, I think, great work in service of, you know, holding people, expanding the field, building communities, creating conversations that make the soul alive. Yeah. And we have also worked with people in teams who are going through depressive states. And it's just very simple. If you give them the narrative of hope and some tools on state management, they're able to overcome, and the change is dramatic.
Yes, absolutely. So is there anything that delegates can do beforehand to give them a deeper experience of your session?
None, except to bring tons of energy, I guess, enthusiasm. It's going to be very practical, a lot of storytelling. It's not going to be highly cerebral. I'd like the participants to learn with me. I'd like to learn from them. So it's going to be, you know, a lot telling stories, exchanging. I'll be sharing 1 or 2 tools in NLP, maybe 3 tools in NLP that, you know, we've seen work in a very practical sense. Yes. To teams, because a lot of the NLP tools in the previous, you know, before I went to businesses, I've used one-on-one, but it's different teaching it to teams. Yes. Right. And it's exciting, and you know, you get to actually iterate a little bit these tools. So I also want to share that, and also share with the participants basically the results that we have enjoyed, and also the challenges and the setbacks and some of the failures and mistakes that we have done, so that we could shortcut the process for leaders. Bottom line, I would love, for example, to see new visions emerge for leaders, you know, that they actually respond to the call of new adventures with enthusiasm, and less of fear, more of the helpful, happy energy, so that we could actually build this world better than before COVID.
That's lovely. So, I mean, obviously, this conference, like last year's, is in a virtual environment, and so much has transformed into a virtual world now. So how are you planning on adding value in that virtual environment?
A lot of, that's always been my, even when we pivoted to the new normal and we've done a lot of our sessions 100%, Karen, that's always been the question, because NLP is so, you know, we hold each other physically, right? And there's a lot of kinesthetic, somatic, and all of a sudden, all of these a lot of the senses are already, you know, no longer in the context, and it's hard. But it is possible. And when we do it in our sessions, and it's also the experience that I hope that I could add value to the conference, is to actually change that paradigm and reframe the participants that this is not really online, but this is on live. It's alive as it is. I'm talking to you, Karen, right now. I can feel you. Yes, right. We have the same, our hearts are beating at the same time. We are alive, and there our eyes, there are body parts, I in front of me, and you're enjoying myself too. So it's as much alive as it is. And when you change that mindset, and I've seen that work so magically in the sessions that we do with people and teams here, all of a sudden that mindset about I just wish this is all alive and face to face and everything, it just becomes irrelevant. And then they focus on the message, and they focus on how to actually win back better, because there's a lot of good things that this new platform has provided us. For one, you see everyone, you see all of the participants, right? Everyone is in a VIP seat, everyone can talk, you don't need post-its or paper. All you need to do is to actually go to the keyboard and chat away. So feedback is also very immediate and direct. So I have seen also so many wins in this new platform. So I'm also excited to do this. It's interesting to have a lot of NLP people just enjoy ourselves in a somatic way in a totally different environment.
Yes, thank you. That's lovely. And certainly something we found, and certainly one of the things we found, like you said, that it's easy for people to just type. And some of those more introverted people who we've seen at previous conferences, who've sort of been on the sidelines and maybe hesitated when everybody else is socializing, it's so lovely to see those people that actually they can be as involved.
Exactly.
And it's a safer environment for a lot of people. So it is, I think you're right. It is, we're all still alive.
Yes,
that's the key
right. We need to explode with gratitude, I guess, for the life that we have and for these possibilities that have emerged as a result of this huge change. I'm very happy because, Karen, in the past 2 years, I've grown faster than in the last 10 years. So many of my skills became obsolete, and I think there's also a lot of humility that went with it, because like right now I reach out a lot to the people that I work with because I couldn't do everything. There are just so many skills that I don't know but other people know, and so you access those resources, and I now totally believe we have all the resources we need in order to actually solve our problems.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. I mean, if there was ever a good lesson in, we have all the resources we need. I think the last 2 years have provided it. So yes. So as you said, you've been to the conference before. So what does the NLP International Conference mean to you, Cherry?
It's my go-to community, Karen. Every time I feel, for example, that I'm no longer powerful, I will always access my NLP friends because I know they will tell me the right words that I needed to hear. A lot of times there are some maniacs inside my mind that's telling me, yada yada and all these things. So thank you to my NLP community, my friends who have actually helped me, and helped me. Who have helped me take care of the processes so that we could expand the field together. Karen, when I was in London, I was with my mother and my sister who just, joined me because they wanted to go on tour in London. And we were having breakfast together. And my sister actually told me as we were having breakfast, the people that I meet or the people that walk by, she will profile the people. This is in the NLP conference. This is in another conference. So I asked her, what is your parameter in profiling? And she said, because NLP people hug for a long time. They are always smiling. She did say they're a little bit older. Okay. But she said that, those long hugs, those compassionate air and atmosphere, I just feel that. And I truly agree with my sister. You feel that in an NLP conference. You don't need to know each other on a deep level, and yet you feel held. There's the same vocabulary, the same mindset, the same emotions, and it's just a field that sponsors and supports and awakens. So I love it every time I'm with my NLP peers and colleagues and mentors. I feel I'm always learning. I feel I'm empty. I feel like an open channel, and I feel so safe. This is what the NLP community mean to me. It's precious. It's so precious.
It is. That's so beautifully put, Cherry. That's why we work in the NLP community. So
yes.
Absolutely. So thank you, Cherry. I think you've given us a great insight into your what we can look forward to in your presentation, which is the Fired Up Leader, Dancing with Grace Through Fire, which I love that title. So you're presenting on Saturday, the 21st of May. It will be at 9 a.m. BST, British Summer Time. We will be in our summer by then. And you're presenting for 90 minutes. So very much looking forward to that. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Karen, and you take care. Stay safe always.
Yes, thank you.